This has major implications for the San Jose Sharks as Mike Grier has a tough decision to make leading into trade deadline with multiple teams calling on multiple key players. We're going to break all this down and more later on this episode. But before we get into it, I just want to say we launched a brand new channel called Sharks Digest. So if you're a huge fan of the San Jose Sharks and you want to keep up to date on everything to do with the Sharks, make sure to go down and check the pinned comment or the description. We'll have the link tagged in there, and you can follow Sharks Digest. Like I said, it's completely free, and you can keep up to date on everything to do around the Sharks. But with that, let's just hop straight into the first topic today, Casey, which is the fact that there are two players getting multiple calls on the San Jose Sharks, and this is Cody Cecil and Mario Ferraro. You can read through this. They have generated a lot of interest over the last few years and has continued to do so this season. So we'll see kind of where the progress are by the two defensemen. Keep an eye on them, which is closer to the March 7th deadline. And this is from David Pagnotta of the fourth period. But just looking at this initially, do you think the San Jose Sharks are going to look at maybe selling off a couple of their veteran defensemen, guys that are in this lineup and making an impact? We see Cody Cecil on this top line. We see Mario Ferraro stationed on the second period. Do you think two of these guys are going to be moved ahead of the deadline? And I'll kind of get into the teams that are in on them as well.
Yeah, it kind of seems like it would make sense for this to happen because the Sharks aren't really at the point right now to where they will be competing for a playoff spot in the second half of this season. So if you have two veteran guys here in Cece and Ferraro who, their better years are maybe behind him. I would say Ferraro's still a tremendous defenseman, and I would hate to see him go for Sharks fans because he is one of the best defensive defensemen in the league right now, in my opinion. He blocks shots at a crazy rate. He's not afraid to get physical. He's lost his front teeth. He is just a hockey fan's hockey player. So you'd hate to see him go, but if the package is right, if you can get a higher round pick here or a mid to high end prospect for both these guys, I think you got to go for it if you're the Sharks.
Because, I mean, looking at this, we see Mike Grier when he traded Mackenzie Blackwood. He said, we did not want to do this, but it was an offer that we really couldn't reject. But looking at this, obviously, CC has came in and made him name for himself on the Sharks team. We've seen him make it to the finals with the Edmonton Oilers last year. I do think he adds a lot of value to this team. He is a UFA at the end of the year. So this is a contract that a lot of teams would take on as a just expiring deal to help them in the playoff hunt. But it does get interesting with Mario Ferraro, who is a younger defenseman. He is still on year 3 of 4. He's in his mid-20s. So this might cost a little more. We've seen his name thrown around constantly each and every year. The Sharks seem like every team calls them looking at Ferraro. But we did get a report, and this continues on from the David Pagnotta segment, where he said, according to informed sources, several teams, including the Edmonton Oilers, Vancouver Canucks, Dallas Stars, and Florida Panthers, are looking to add depth to their defensive bench. Any of them could make an offer for Cody Cecil or Mario Ferraro, or both. Now, looking at this, a lot of these teams are in need of a defenseman. The Vancouver Canucks are a team that has been desperately dealing with so many injuries throughout the season on the defensive end, on the forward group, and they've been looking for a defenseman to add to this core. The Edmonton Oilers will probably be in on Ferraro as they let CC go to the San Jose Sharks. Maybe they want him back to bring that Stanley Cup experience to the team. But looking at this, what team do you think really sticks out that has maybe the best offer to offer to the Sharks?
I really do like Dallas here. I think Dallas has some young guys there too that they can ship out for defensemen as well, some great prospects. And I think they have a great defensive pairing already in Dallas. So adding a big guy here in Ferraro or Cece could really give them that extra push towards this towards this playoff run that they're about to go on. I mean, they already have Heiskanen, Harley, who has been exceptional there, and numerous other defensemen who have been very solid for this team. So if you're just adding in a Ferraro or a Cece here, it's only going to make your decor better. I could see Vancouver in on this too, though, Mark. I know Vancouver seems like they're on fire right now. I mean, they're talking about trading Pettersson. They're talking about trading Miller. So why not go out and trade for Mario Ferraro? It seems like they're just trying to make something happen in Vancouver right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go out, maybe overpay a little bit on a guy like Mario Ferraro, thinking that he is the solution for their team right now. So I think a lot of teams are going to be in on this, but the one that makes most sense to me, I think, is Dallas, because I think it's Dallas's time to do something here and win a Stanley Cup. And I think the only way they're going to do that is to make a few trades happen here at the deadline.
And I mean, looking at the Sharks, they're going to want to continue to add prospects, young players. But I do think the Canucks make the most sense, as the Sharks could go out and maybe acquire someone like Niels Höglander, who would fit perfectly into this core. You could add a young, speedy winger that has a bit of bite to him to the Sharks team to continue just build the young movement, help them towards the future. But it's going to get quite interesting to see how the Sharks really go about this. But it does lead straight into the second topic today, which is quotes from Warsofsky speaking on the Granlund rumors. Now, we have been talking a lot about Cody Cecil and Mario Ferraro gaining interest, but we've seen a lot of interest going towards Granlund as well. Now, this is a quote from Warsofsky, and he says he's done a tremendous job with that, similar to Logan Couture, in the sense of where he grabs guys more individually. He's not a big rah-rah speech guy, but he has no problem grabbing a guy, whether that's, eating lunch, breakfast, or having a coffee. You see him on the bench at times in TV timeout. He's talking to Macklin celebrating. He's talking to Will Smith. He's just organized, helping with these players' development. But looking at trade interest around a guy like Granlund, do you think the Sharks are going to move on from it? Or do you think this is better suited where they can keep this veteran guy that's not only helping them on the score sheet, but helping grow these young stars?
Yeah, I think it's always good to have these kind of veteran guys around when you're rebuilding a team so that the younger guys going up can learn from the experience that they have gained throughout their career. And even though Granlund is lighting it up for the San Jose Sharks, and you could probably get a decent return for him, I think the fans love this guy, and he's just the epitome of a San Jose Shark, and you do not want to get rid of this guy. I think, if the right deal comes along that maybe you're getting a first round pick for this guy, I think you have to go for it there. But I think keeping him around to help out the Celebrinis, to help out, all the prospects they have right now is definitely the better option. And like I said, if an offer comes through that you really can't pass up on, you wouldn't be upset by getting a first round pick for him.
And the biggest thing is, like you said, having a guy like this within this lineup helps with the growth of these young guys. Like you've seen in the pictures here, Granlund is leading the team in scoring. He's been the perfect piece on this team. He's a UFA at the end of this, but it seems like he's enjoying his time in San Jose. He seems like he's having fun. As you can see from these quotes, he's growing. He's helping these young guys throughout the lineup. And in my opinion, I would love to see Granlund come back to this team, continue to grow with this team. This is a mentor piece that you can't really replace. Yes, looking at this lineup, you have so many young budding stars. You still have a few guys within this lineup in their 30s. Gaudreau is one of these guys, but working through, I think Granlund is almost a piece, unless the offer comes in that, like you said, it's a first round pick, a prospect, and everything else in between. Yes, you have to move on from him, but I don't think there's any rush within this organization to move on from him. And it's the kind of thing like, hey, give us an offer we can't say no to, and we'll have to accept it. But we're not going to sell out on this guy that's been huge for this franchise just for the sake of moving on from him. But just putting this towards NKC, do you think maybe Granlund will be extended this year if they do go past trade deadline? Or do you think this might be the situation where they're like, hey, we're going to wait till the end of the year and figure things out from there?
Yeah, well, look, he is 32. I mean, we're not going to say, he is getting up there in age and getting close to retirement, but I still think he got about three more good years left in Granlund here. So if you can lock him up for 3, maybe 4 years, you ride him on the LTIR for the last year of his deal, I think you definitely go for it. I mean, San Jose is obviously a team that's building to something right now, so having a veteran there that will help get that team through the tough times like he has this season. He's been an X factor for them this season at times that has led them to winning games that they're not supposed to win. So just for that alone, he definitely deserves a chat with Grier about an extension. But I can see this coming. If they don't trade him at the deadline, I think we will see a 3 or 4 year extension here on Granlund.
But what's your guys' thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on so much interest going on in these guys like Mario Ferraro, Cody Cecil, and Granlund? Who would you like to move out? Who would you like to keep? Obviously, Celebrini is untouchable from anyone else around the league. This is the superstar. The future is teal, and Celebrini is at the center of it. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go down, hit a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode, so keep your eyes out for that. But once again, go check out Sharks Digest. We'll be covering only the San Jose Sharks and all the news around the team. But I've been your host, Mark Pye, with my co-host, KC, and take care.